every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. So yeah, we're not all perfect. We're in a fallen world, and everybody can sit up on their high horse, but nobody wants to show the closet, with all the junk inside. So one of these plants is going to produce probably 8 to 10 cantaloupes. So think one of those is packed with 8 to 10 nutrients. I used to tell people when we do farmers markets, I'm like, Willy Wonka, the schnozberries taste like schnozberries. That's what it tastes like. And there's no magic. That's what it is. It's cantaloupe, as they grow. So this stuff is, again, go back to the Viola veggies, you're talking tender, melts in your mouth, but you get extra punch of flavor.
Wow.
Yeah. So like arugula on steroids, except doesn't look it, because it's
arugula
so small.
Arugula on TRT.
And there's studies out there that anywhere from 10 to 40 times more nutritious than the adult vegetable or whatever it is that you can grow. Broccoli being the most nutritious. It tastes like raw broccoli, like you're eating like off a crudité platter, just vegetables.
Like this makes the best salad.
You're going to add it. Now here we are, quadrupled. We bought 1 rack. We were growing 4 crops. We've got 10 racks, 12 racks now because we grow vertically.
Where'd this idea come from? Where'd you come up with that? Where were you laying around one day or sitting around one day and be like, let's make some microgreens? Welcome to Food Fight. I'm your host, Brian DiMattei. We are here in Kingston, Pennsylvania in the Food Fight production studios. I'm here with my guest today, Luke Marek from Dallas, Pennsylvania, owner of Back Mountain Microgreens. Luke, welcome to Food Fight.
Thanks. Glad to be here, Brian.
Absolutely. You brought us some flowers, some plants, all kinds of stuff right here. You told me this big plant in front of it's calling a plant the correct thing to say?
Yeah, okay. It's a microgreen, but yeah.
Microgreen. I'm like, is this the arugula? You're like, no, it's cantaloupe. I'm like, what do you mean it's cantaloupe? Where are the little cantaloupes in the dirt? Absolutely amazing this thing looks like. I love it. So you're from Dallas, Pennsylvania, and Back Mountain Greens. I want to read something from your website real fast, sure. All right? So I don't know if I have this pen in my hand. Even though we're growing microgreens, in most cases, baby veggies, we're commanded to produce fruit in our lives and prayerfully, maybe even more importantly, in your life too. What does that mean to you?
My wife and I are very much into our Christian faith, and this business is a way for us to give back. It's a way for us to build our lives for our children, show them that something can be done on your own, that you don't have to go and get a job somewhere, but it's also the funds that we get from it and that we make. The money is a lot that we give back to the community. Food scarcity is a huge thing out there. We know it firsthand. We've struggled times to put food on our table for us and our 4 boys. We're making money, and we don't make a lot of it, but what we do make, we love to give back, and that's really what it means to us. So we're not just growing microgreens. We're growing the community. We're growing in ourselves. We're growing in our kids. Just growing as much as you can in our faith, whether it's good, bad, ugly. It's just something that's deep and part of us.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I was looking through your website. I saw that. And it's funny because I have a bit of a party mouth. And to be respectful, I don't care if you care. On the top of my list here, it says, try not to curse.
Hey, listen, that's every day. All of us are that way. I always try to tell people that, every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. So yeah, we're not all perfect. We're in a fallen world, and, everybody can sit up on their high horse, but nobody wants to show the closet, with all the junk inside. So.
That's well said. That's well said. I'm a believer. I might not be a churchgoer, all that kind of stuff, but on my arm, I have God. I come to you when I need guidance to be true.
Yeah.
So I got that tattooed on my arm about 10 years ago. I got in trouble. My story's out there, and I got into a car wreck. I got in a little bit of trouble. I was facing court dates, all this kind of stuff. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was 3 months sober. I was just trying to get my life together. I didn't know what the hell was going on, right? I got into a car accident. A guy ran a stop sign, ran into the side of my car, and he pushed me across the street. I got knocked out, and I woke up. I was in the hospital. I was okay. My back was a little bit sore, but overall I was okay. But I'm laying there. I was already down on myself. I was already like, why am I even still around, right? But at that point, I was like, why didn't God just finish me off? Why didn't that truck just drive right through me and finish me off? Because I have been in my eyes, just not the best person the last 10 years and stuff like that. I wasn't there for my family and all this other stuff that I was doing. And it came to me immediately, the answer. He kept you alive because you've been wasting your life the last few years. And he's tired of watching you waste your life. Now he wants you to be grateful for the life that you still have and to live the life that he gave you.
Yeah.
And it was immediate. And, I went to AA for a long time. And the big part of it, getting sober, is, finding your higher power, whatever that might be too.
Yeah. AA is great. It's a 12-step program. Doesn't bring up God per se, but it's you have to find something.
The world should be on a 12-step program.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Not just for
yeah,
AA.
Yeah, exactly. Just in general, because those principles are just the foundation for living a good life. As you said earlier, nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
We all have skeletons.
Even once you get to that point where you're better, you're still not perfect.
Yeah. I still have some of my bad habits I picked up, but I've changed a lot. I made the decision to make a change. That's the thing. You have to want to make changes.
I always tell the kids, it's great to say sorry. What's better than sorry? Don't do the thing that made you say sorry.
Yeah.
Now, you're going to do that. But again, next time, don't say sorry for the same thing. The part of it is the not repeating the same issue.
Growth.
You're right. You're going to mess up. Of course you are. I always tell the kids that all the time. I'm not going to be there always to catch you, but I'll always be there to pick you up.
Yeah.
Because you're going to fall. You have to fall.
Absolutely.
I think it's a male female thing. Like the mothers love to nurture and the fathers want to kick you out of the nest. And if you fall and get hurt on the way, that's fine because bruises and scars and stuff build the structure for you to push on.
Yeah. You were talking about maybe your son coming in and trying some jiu-jitsu classes at Good Tree MMA in Wilkes-Barre, right? Just like you said there, the parents bring the kids in and they know we're not playing tennis.
Yeah.
And the kids, sometimes the kids get, girl last night, we were playing a game last night in class and it's called the knee tag game. But, they wound up and they didn't hit the knee, hit her in the face and hit her in the nose. And, she was on the ground. She was upset. She cried a little bit. She ran over. I started bringing her over to her father. Father's smiling, like, let's laughing at me. I'm like, he's like, I know.
Yeah.
So the parents just give them a little hug and they come back up. I try to stop them from going to their parents, not to be cruel or anything like that. The parents bring them there for a reason. So we have to keep them going. So sometimes I try to catch them beforehand. But when they get hurt and they're really upset, sometimes they just need that parent touch to get them back in the class.
Yeah.
Another kid last night, little kid, we're doing jumping jacks. He's doing the jumping jacks, but he's doing circles while he's doing them. I'm like, hey, stop. Hey, I go, oh, everybody stop. We're doing them again. I do the, these were the younger kids, like the 5 to 6-year-olds. I go, oh, everybody stop. We're going to do jumping jacks again, but we're going to do them by standing properly. He started doing circles again. So I was like, so I'm like, up, 10 burpees. So he'd do 10 burpees. So he's screaming while he's doing, I don't do them. I'm like, I get down to one knee, I get down to the left. I'm like, I gave you 2 warnings. And what did you do? I didn't do that. I go, you're going to tell me you weren't spinning around?
You're going to do more burpees.
You think you weren't spinning around? So he did his burpees, but he bounced back early. He bounced back, though. He's upset. He's screaming. Then after class, I always talk to the parents, say goodbye to all the parents. I do my lap around, and I'm like, listen, I'm sorry that he got upset. He goes, no. He asked for it. Yeah. He needed it. And they have a smile on their face. So they bring them there for that reason, and that's what they need sometimes.
Yeah, we all do. We all need structure. If not, we're going to be a mess. Like you said, I'm no stranger to being a mess either. I didn't grow up I grew up in a great family. I'm the youngest of 6 children. A black sheep is a nice way to call me out of mine. I think my brothers and sister probably look at me like, what in the world happened to that one? They always say mom and dad let him go, but I think they were probably tired by the time they got to me. Right. I didn't make the best choices in my life either. I definitely, have struggled. I've been in and out of a lot of problems and stuff, but, remarried to a great woman, with our boys and starting this business. We're going to be 2 years this April, and it has quadrupled, and it is one of the most positive things that we've gotten involved in. Left our jobs and started this, and it's great. It's fantastic.
Congratulations.
So, yeah, it is. Thank you. It's just really – it's a great opportunity, and it's a great thing to show our boys.
Yeah.
That's something there, and then something to give – I said before, give back to the community too, because doing business is great. But if you're not out there doing something for somebody else, what are you doing? You're just doing it for yourself isn't always what it's all about.
I agree.
That's where it starts. You need an income. You got to have something.
You need to you need to fill your table first.
Yeah.
And then you could give.
You got to put on your own oxygen mask first before you put on somebody else's. Or you're not going to be around.
Just like you can't put out your neighbor's house. If both houses are on fire,
yeah,
you're going to put your neighbor's house out first. Put your house out first, and then you go help. You got to take care of yourself first. Big thing when I'm getting sober. People are like, oh, you got to be selfish. What do you mean by that? You got to be, I tell people to this day, even with getting sober or whatever else you want to call, you know what I mean? I don't consider myself sober anymore, but out the stuff I used to do 100%, you know what I mean? But you got to fix yourself. You can't be good. You can't help somebody else.
Yeah, if you're not already helped.
It's like a completely out of shape personal trainer. They might know they have the knowledge, but if you get someone that doesn't have the knowledge and you're their trainer, you'd be like, but you're telling me to do A, B, and C, but
you don't look
doesn't
like
seem like
A,
it
B,
works.
Yeah.
Oh, it does. Well, how does it work? How does it work? People say, oh, that's an extreme example because they still have the knowledge.
Application knowledge. Wisdom and knowledge are two different things.
Again, someone that knows that's what you have to do to get in shape, and they just need some motivation. But if they don't know that, people really, really lack knowledge when it comes to fitness. They believe all kind of crazy fitness. We're getting off track.
No, it's all right.
You're getting off track. That's our first getting off track. So the term microgreens, as we know it today, first emerged in California in the 1980s. Chefs in high-end restaurants began experimenting with growing and using small, flavorful greens to add color, texture, and taste to gourmet dishes. By the 90s, they were gaining traction in upscale restaurants across the U.S. You used to own 2 restaurants yourself.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into the microgreens. Mm-hmm. Explain to me how this is cantaloupe in front of me.
There is no. I was going to say there's no magic trick to microgreens. The same seed that I plant is the same seed that a farmer is going to put in the ground and produce whatever comes to fruition. Whether it's a head of broccoli, whether it's a vine full of cantaloupes, whatever it is. There's no magic trick. There's no microgreen seed. The same seed is used. It's where we harvest it that changes the whole game of it.
Okay.
To give you the rough side of it, you're going to start with sprouts. You've heard of sprouts, right?
Yes.
Like alfalfa sprouts, broccoli sprouts, bean sprouts. Mm-hmm. That would be your first step of something that you would eat, okay? Other than if you wanted to start really at seeds. Like people eat sunflower seeds. Mm-hmm. You can start there. But if you're going to get into the plant, the first stage is going to be sprouts. But sprouts are grown usually in a damp environment or on like a wet in a jar that you put water in. You drain the water. It just gets them wet, just enough for them to start and break out. It's a sprout, but you eat the root, the seed hole, and the sprout. So all of that all at once, usually in like 3 or 4 days.
Okay,
that's how that produces. Microgreens are the step above that, and microgreens we grow in soil. So when we harvest above the soil. So the root and the seed hole is in the bottom. What you eat is the stem and what's called catalenins. It's your first true leaf development of the plant. Okay. So you're going to get that look of before it turns into cantaloupe. Like a cantaloupe vine looks almost like ivy. This has got, just the smooth leaves like this.
Okay.
So before it develops that, it hasn't developed any fibers. It hasn't grown up and actually started to produce the cantaloupe. So all of the flavor and all the nutrients are packed inside here. So out of one of the stems, whether it's this or anything else, one of these plants is going to produce probably 8 to 10 cantaloupes. So think one of those is packed with 8 to 10 nutrients of cantaloupes.
This is going to produce 8 to 10 cantaloupes, or this
each little thing. Yeah.
So this one right here.
Yeah.
This is going to grow up to be.
If I didn't cut it, yeah.
Yeah.
Snip off that root on the bottom. Okay. Give it a taste.
All right. It tastes like a fucking cantaloupe.
It tastes like a cantaloupe. That's what I said. I always say, I used to tell people when we do farmers markets, I'm like, Willy Wonka, the schnozberries taste like schnozberries. Yeah. That's what it tastes like. And there's no magic trick. That's what it is. It's cantaloupe. So that little plant,
I'm blown away by that.
If it were to grow up, it would grow up into a vine, grow probably from here, maybe 3-4 feet away, produce flowers, and produce a bunch of cantaloupes.
Mike's going to put a picture of a big cantaloupe vine up on the. He's already working on it. I already see his mind working over there. Right.
So yeah, you take that. Now all the nutrients. I don't want to say you just ate 6 cantaloupes.
I feel like I just woke up.
And it is. I'll tell you what. One of the most refreshing ones that we do is this, and it almost tastes like I always say like a cucumber flavor too. Has that melony cucumber type flavor as well. But yeah, that's cantaloupe. So I mean, there's hundreds of them in here. So, we package that. It's going to go in a container like this. And you take a little pinch and add it to whatever it is that you're already eating.
So I'm fascinated by the fact that the nutritional fact.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just tons of nutrition in these things.
Yeah, because it hasn't wasted itself growing up. I call it, my wife always said it was controversial when we would do farmers markets. I had a sign on my stand that said, the veal of veggies. She goes, there's going to be a lot of vegetarians out there that don't want to hear that. And we did. We had people that came over, and they'd be like, I'm offended by that. And I'm like, well, let's talk about it.
I'm offended that you're offended by it.
That's kind of the way
just
I
walk by.
I said, so then they would talk about it and they'd be like, well, why do you call it that? And I'm like, exactly why. You obviously are offended because you know what veal is. All right. So then you should know what I mean when I say it's a veal of veggies. It's a young plant that hasn't, grown up. That's tender. That has tons of flavor in it, that melts in your mouth. That's what veal is. That's what this is.
That's a great way to put it. I'm sold. I'm sold.
Yeah, I mean, once, and then they're like, okay, we'll explain it. And it's the same thing. We're explaining, that's what it is. And there's studies out there that anywhere from 10 to 40 times more nutritious than the adult vegetable or whatever it is that you can grow. Broccoli being the most nutritious. And that's mostly, even when you get into vegetables, broccoli is a very nutritious vegetable.
Favorite vegetable, Luke.
I think.
Broccoli. Do you have baby broccoli?
I think it's on yours. Yep, right here. Yeah. Just pinch some of that off and just have some.
Jesus. Okay. Ooh.
It tastes like raw broccoli. Like you're eating like off a crudité platter,
Oh, man.
Just vegetables.
Like this makes the best salad
You're
in the
going to
world.
add it. Now we do have people that they'll say, "Oh, well, can I OD on this?" And it's like over, obviously not going to drugs, but can I eat too much of it? No, not necessarily, but just like vitamin C. You can go get a whole tube of vitamin C tablets. You could eat the whole thing. Are you going to get sick? No.
But you're going to waste out the whole vitamin C tablet, yeah. But you're going to waste it.
You're going to waste it. Your body's only going to be able to, retain X amount.
Yeah.
Same thing. You could eat this whole container if you want to.
It's the best thing to put a good amount of these into like a whole salad with like iceberg lettuce and romaine lettuce, that
perfect
kind of
example.
stuff.
What does iceberg taste like? Nothing. Right? It's a filler.
Yeah.
So put this in there to give the extra nutrients and give some extra flavor. So you'll bang out the nutrients. It doesn't even have to be on a salad. People always think, oh, it's green, let's put it on a salad.
Oh, you put it on a burger?
Put it on anything. Put it inside a wrap. Put it on top of a soup.
You mix it in with some you got some broccoli and cavatelli. Maybe mix in some broccoli greens right there. You know what I mean?
My wife loves. I didn't bring any. I don't think is pea. She loves pea sprouts in the pea shoots. She puts those in eggs in the morning. Scramble them up, put them in there. You put it in anything. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you want to do.
I'm going to enjoy all this here for sure. What was I going to say? Something. Oh, shit.
Well, you brought up the cavatelli.
Yeah, cavatellis?
No, but
yeah, micro cavatellis?
Micro basil.
Oh, yeah, I remember I saw this on your
So now, website. You think basil's potent. This miniature basil, way more.
My nose just cleared up.
Just out of one little sprig. That's it. Nice part about it is, you're familiar with basil, you cut it, what does it do? Turn black instantly, right? Mm-hmm. This, you don't have to cut it. You just take it, especially for eye appeal. If you're a restaurant or even if you're cooking at home.
Yeah.
We eat with our eyes first.
I finished off my sauce of meatballs with basil. I used to put it in. I put it in the beginning of the cooking process.
Okay.
And someone told me to put it like towards the end. Mm-hmm. I like it towards the beginning.
Yeah,
you get more flavor.
Everybody's
really
different,
good.
but even for eye appeal at the end, when you're ready to sit down your plate, you put a couple of those on top. Looks better. You get an extra pop of that fresh, rather than that flavor bleeding through your sauce.
You're not wrong.
You get something hit, like that, or you have some fresh mozzarella, you do a caprese salad or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not just, we're looking at cantaloupe. That's a fruit. We just had broccoli. That's a vegetable. We're looking at basil. We're looking at herbs. So there's different things that could be microgreens. Now there's some things that can't be microgreens either, but there's a lot that could be too.
So I eat the stem from the cantaloupe. Mm-hmm. That really has about the same nutrition from a piece of cantaloupe, like a serving of cantaloupe or a whole cantaloupe.
Like a serving.
A serving. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're not going to get. I mean, again,
it's going to be a waste.
Right. And to say that you're getting 6 or 8 cantaloupes in that whole thing, no, but way more nutritious than if you were to eat the whole cantaloupe by itself. Yeah.
I totally understand. Fascinated by this. It's great. It's great. What's this one right here?
Is that the arugula? That's the one that you wanted. Yeah.
Baby arugula.
Again, all of them, because arugula's got like a crunch to it. as they grow. So this stuff is, again, go back to the veal of veggies. You're talking tender, melts in your mouth, but you get extra punch of flavor.
Wow.
Yeah. So like arugula on steroids, except doesn't look it, because it's
Arugula,
so small.
arugula on TRT. Wow. That's amazing.
It's got a heck of a punch.
It does.
And the nice, what the
I need
nice
a
part is
drink.
though, you get the punch, but it's not like eating a jalapeno pepper where it's like a half hour later, you're like, yeah, I had a jalapeno pepper. It goes. You get the flavor and then it passes.
It's really, really good.
So,
That's really, really good. A lot of flavor in that arugula.
We can go around. We'll go around the table.
Go around the table. Yeah, let's do it. Then we'll get into what's that?
This is corn.
Get out of here.
Yeah, corn shoots.
They look like darts, don't they?
The reason it's yellow is it's grown completely in the dark, so it hasn't photosynthesized yet. It hasn't had that time to get the sun and get the green on it like a big corn stalk.
Okay.
But this, if you were to let that grow,
Yeah.
that's going to grow up into corn stalk. Knee high by the 4th of July.
No shit.
And then be 6-8 feet tall.
The finish is a little bit of corn.
It's a little bit of corn, but you taste something sweet, right? Almost
Yeah.
like a stevia.
Right there.
Like stevia, like a
Yeah.
natural sweetener.
Yeah.
What do you hear in corn? Corn syrup, right?
Corn syrup.
All
Yep.
that stuff. That's what corn does. Corn's a sweetener. It has that sweet flavor.
Mm-hmm.
So this is natural for it. Has that extra punch.
It finished off really, really nice.
And everything is different. You like arugula. There's
Yeah.
some people that can't stand arugula.
Fair enough.
So same thing with corn. Maybe it's not your gig, but
Right.
somebody else it might be. Those are radish.
Razor radishes.
Yep. If you like something with a kick.
I'm a big veggie guy, so people think I only eat pizza and hot dogs.
That's what happens when that's what you put out in the video.
Yeah.
Now they know you eat veggies.
Uh-huh. It's an interesting taste. My mouth's on fire a little bit.
It's got that radish.
Yeah.
If you've ever had a radish, it's going to taste
Yeah.
like radish. That's what it is. It's not. Again, there's no magic trick. What we're talking about is the same thing that's going to produce if it were to grow to fruition. If you like spice, this one I always laugh at. This is mustard, and
Mustard seed, right?
well, it's a seed. Yeah, it's the
Okay.
same thing. I
Okay,
mean,
I
mustard's gonna you plant the seed, it's gonna grow into it.
Yellow mustard?
This
Just
one
mustard in
this
general.
one's called a Mizuna mustard, so it's kind of got a variegated red. You'd see this in some like spring mixes or mesclun mixes that they would give you, and get that little bit of.
Oh wow. I just
that,
got the mustard.
that baby. Yeah, it tastes like mustard.
We go to that chili dog.
Great on burgers. I always tell people it's funny. I'd be at farmers market and guys would walk by, and be like, "Hey, you want to try something?" They're like, "I don't eat vegetables." I'm like, "Come here,
Yeah, right.
come on over here."
Yeah.
Give them a taste of this, and they're like, "Oh, I'd love that on my burger." I'm like, "Oh, I thought you didn't eat vegetables." Don't knock it until you try it, just like anything.
Yeah.
Understand
I was gonna
what it is.
I was gonna say before, we're ragging on iceberg lettuce. Iceberg lettuce is the best on a sandwich. I don't know what it is. Iceberg lettuce
But
is
it's
the best
great.
on a sandwich.
You get that, get the crunch, get the water.
Yeah,
You get
that's iceberg lettuce, iceberg or romaine. I rather iceberg lettuce.
Yeah.
I buy a head of iceberg just to put on a sandwich because I make one.
But there's nothing to it. I mean,
There's no
there's no
you're right.
flavor and
You're
stuff
right.
like that.
What about sautéing this stuff?
Some of the things we could, some of the things you can't, because you're going to turn it. It's going to turn it like spinach. It's just going to wilt up and it's just going to be mush.
Yeah.
You'll get the flavor, but the texture is going to be gone.
Understood.
So if you want that, that's fine. When people say, "Can I put it into something like that?" I always say, if you want to, use the things that are we have shoots, the corn shoots, sunflower shoots, pea shoots, things that are a little bit hardier, stronger, and
Okay.
put them at the end of when you're cooking.
That's what I was going to suggest.
And this way, they'll still keep a little bit of their texture, and the flavor will still be there. Or as soon as you're done, put them on top right there.
That's
or
right after you're on top.
take a pan with some olive oil or butter, hit it with some garlic, and dump it over the microgreens and toss them like that. So then you've got some good flavor and stuff like that.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
I think the only one we didn't do, Brian, was this one here.
Right here.
These are leeks.
Leeks.
So you know what a leek looks like.
Yeah,
When it
yeah.
gets, get a couple feet, big and thick like a big green onion.
That would be amazing on a burger
Yeah.
and a hot dog.
That's a great flavor. It's got an onion flavor, a garlic
Yeah.
flavor. It's fantastic.
We got to have, Mike, we got to make hot dogs with the leeks on top and the mustard
yeah.
seed. Holy,
Yeah.
absolutely delicious. Hashtag delicious. I need a little drink. If I was reading on your website, and you said earlier that you guys wanted to develop a business that you could do together with your wife.
Right.
and you're 4 boys, right?
Right.
Your wife's name is Gail.
Yeah.
I remember it good. It's a whole family affair. So it's 2 years. You're getting ready to be April's going to be 2 years.
Right.
What were you doing What were you doing before that in your life as far as jobs? You own 2 restaurants.
Right.
Tell me about those, please.
Let's see. We'll start all the way. We'll start at the beginning.
Far back? Yeah, perfect.
We'll
Perfect.
start at
Please
the
tell us a story, please.
I started working on, grew up in Plains, and I started working on a farm when I was 10 years old.
Was it a farm in Plains?
Yep. Still there, and our oldest son, who's 18 now, works there.
Where's that at?
It's on right off of River Street in Plains, Golden's Farm.
In between like Jay's Genoa and
Pass off Genoa, yeah, go down the road.
by the borderline, by the old borderline bar that flooded before the bridge.
Before 8th Street,
picture-
on the left-hand side.
yeah,
Everything's down there.
yeah, I can
There's
picture- I can-
O'Malley's is down
Yeah,
there.
I drove by that a million times before. I know
Yeah.
exactly what you mean. That's one of my routes.
But
Okay.
Golden's
Okay.
Farm is down there, and I grew up. I'm not the only one. I'm the youngest of 6 kids.
Okay.
My brothers all worked there too. The only one that didn't was my sister. She worked at the bakery, but
She sounds like that was a sweeter job. No point intended.
but we all worked there. So yeah, I started working on the farm, and we'll shorten the story as best I can.
Tell the story, please. Yeah, get into it.
Started working on a farm. Went to school, high school, and
You went to Bishop that does not exist anymore.
yeah,
Bishop Hope.
exactly.
So I grew up.
AKA doesn't exist anymore.
You don't mind me asking, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
46.
Okay, so we're about the same. I'm 43.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I grew up. I saw you. Oh, Bishop Holman. Wow, flash. Because I grew up in Old Forge. So, but
Bishop O'Reilly.
a lot of my friends went to Bishop Hannon.
Okay.
So, like, I was a senior when Jerry McNamara was a senior. So,
Okay.
watching his basketball, I used to go to watching him play basketball was amazing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
then,
I know exactly.
then he won the national championship.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. But Bishop Hannon, Bishop O'Reilly, Bishop Hoban.
Yeah.
Really bad football teams back in the day.
Yeah.
But they don't even exist anymore, the schools. They're all
Holy Redeemer.
Holy Redeemer
Yeah.
and holy this, holy that. All right, go ahead anyway. I wanted to bring that up about the Bishop Hope. It's like, what a blast from the past that was.
It was unfortunate too. I played on that football team, and it was always the joke, Oh yeah, great football team.
My freshman team wasn't the best. I won like 3 games in 3 years, so it is what it is.
The worst part was that the school had to be in the certain.
I know
district.
you were in our division. That was horrible.
Yeah, but you had to be because swimming was fantastic, soccer was fantastic, everything was fantastic. So they had to be on the high end, which means we had to play the high end football teams. Yeah, beat up. It was like the Bad News Bears.
That was the old. What division was that back in the day? Susquehanna.
Everybody.
Holman, Old Forge, Western Wayne,
Delaware Valley,
Holmesdale, Delaware Valley.
We even played Berwick.
Quad A. Yeah, Quad A. Well, Old Forge was playing them back in the day too.
Yep.
All right. General Wholesale Foods, supplying quality since 1947. For over 75 years, Genoa Wholesale Foods has been your trusted partner for premium food supplies. Specializing in services to pizzerias, Genoa also caters to restaurants, bakeries, delis, and bars throughout northeastern Pennsylvania. They proudly offer a blend of both private label and national brands, helping you find the perfect products to meet your restaurant needs. With local deliveries and the care of a family-owned business, they are committed to making your success their priority. Choose Genoa Wholesale Foods for reliable, top-quality restaurant supplies that keep your business running smoothly. Genoa Wholesale Foods, locally owned and operated for 3 generations. Call Genoa today at 570-823-6142 or visit them online at www.genoafoods.com. Looking for the perfect grooming experience for your pup? Welcome to Carly's Fairy Tale Dog Grooming, located at 8 North Main Street in Pittston. We offer boutique-style grooming with a focus on quality over quantity. Your furry friend will enjoy a cage-free, stress-free environment where they will feel comfortable and pampered. At Carly's, we make sure every dog leaves feeling and looking like royalty. Call 541-410-9582 or stop in today to book your appointment at Carly's Fairy Tale Dog Grooming. All right, so you went to school, all that kind of stuff. You're working at the farm.
Yeah, left the farm right in I think it was around my senior year. The Taco Bell opened up downtown, and I was like, all right, make more money, go there.
Yeah.
So I started working at Taco Bell.
How was that experience?
That's a fast food restaurant. I always my whole family. My oldest brother graduated from Culinary Institute.
Okay,
so it's in our blood. My mother worked as cafeteria worker. She worked at the bakery. We all had some kind of food in our bones. My mother's 2, 3, 4 of my mother's uncles were chefs. going way back, and really just it's something that was always in our blood.
Okay.
I'm Polish. We're pinching pierogies with grandma all the time, or making whatever veggies, that she was doing, or whatever, the pop was downstairs doing horseradish, and everybody's eyes are watering upstairs, so we always did something, whether it was doing that, making kielbasa, whatever. So it's in our blood. So anyway, started working at Taco Bell, and opportunity came up that my brother had worked for as a waiter for a place up in Dallas that did off-premise catering. And they needed a dishwasher. And he's like, hey, you want to wash dishes? I'm like, yeah, I don't mind. On my other days, I'll come up, I'll wash dishes. So I started washing dishes. And it was an older couple that had the place. They were looking to get out of it. So in the midst of washing dishes, I was like, hey, if you need help prepping, I know how to do that. And the lady's like, okay, well, if you know how to do it, do it. I said, all right, well, I'll do it. So I started doing that. I'm like, hey, if you want me to, saute that, I know how to do that. Oh, you know how to do that? All right, you do it. So it was one thing after another. And that's usually where it starts. I tell, everybody. Two of our boys now are dishwashers. And I always say, listen, every place you go into, that's, the chef usually started as a dishwasher. If not, he's probably not the greatest either, because you don't want somebody looking down. I always tell people, I would never ask you to do anything that I haven't done or I'm not willing to do myself, so it's nice to have somebody that started in one spot, work their way up, and can still get back in there.
Yeah.
I go into restaurants all the time. I love seeing when the owner's washing dishes, and he's like, hey, he goes, you got to do it, and nobody looks at it and goes, oh, he's just standing over looking at us doing it. He doesn't care. That's probably the most caring person you could have there. It's, willing to jump in the trenches with you. But anyway, it was an off-premise catering with a takeout where we did prepared foods. And the husband and wife wanted to get out of it. I wasn't even graduated from high school yet. I was only 17, and we went in and bought the business out in Dallas and ran that.
How old are you?
I was only 17. I'm young. So I graduated when I was 17 because my birthday's in September.
Okay.
So I was one of those back in the day.
So you bought it yourself?
My parents helped.
Understood.
Yeah, my parents helped out, but
Cool.
we were able to buy it and ran it from 95 until the early 2000s.
What kind of food you serve?
It's more traditional type, inside the prepared foods. It was more meatloafs and lasagnas, pastas, a lot of the side dishes and things like that. Stuff that I knew how to make that my mom always made, pasties.
You make an Italian lasagna or a Polish lasagna?
No, Italian lasagna.
I don't think a Polish lasagna exists. Polish raviolis exist.
Yeah.
They're called pierogies. Yeah.
So yeah, it all depended on, and then when we would do parties, obviously the menu went with whatever the person wanted. We'd go all the way from hors d'oeuvres to buffet lines to sit-down dinners to desserts, wedding cakes. We started making it all. So I'm self-taught. I used to buy cookbooks all the time, read them. I read more cookbooks than I actually read books. I don't like reading, but give me a cookbook, I sit down and go through that all day long. So did that and got out of that and actually went into food sales because at 17 years old, into my early 20s, working from 2 o'clock in the morning until midnight.
Burnout.
Yeah.
Burnout. Restaurant business is burnout city.
Lost my youth to working like crazy. I loved it, but at the same time, I don't even know what happened during those years.
I know. Look, I worked in the restaurant business those same exact years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you still do it. I see chefs all the time, and their heads are hanging, and I'm like, dude, don't burn out, man. Take the break.
It's the most burnout job for a long time.
But you're devoted to it at the same time.
Yeah,
man.
it's life.
It's sick.
It's a restaurant culture.
Yeah.
And you dive into it. And unfortunately for me, it got me into all my bad habits.
Yeah.
It was.
It's because it's usually the witching hour when everything's over.
2,
and
3.
you're leaving.
You're out of work at 1 a.m.
Yeah, where else do you go?
Where we going? We're going to the house party. We're going to the house party. I worked at the casino on Roots Chris Steakhouse. I used to go gamble and drink after work.
Yeah. That's what else are you going to do? That's the time.
Go home and be an adult. But I decided not to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Right. We all make choices. Exactly. So I went into food sales.
Who'd you work for? Food sales?
Mains.
Mains?
They're not around anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Yes. Yeah, I remember Mains. It's amazing. They went out of business.
Yeah.
They got hurt during the Cove, right?
They were huge
really hard
up in New York,
back.
and they were trying to bleed their way out.
Yeah.
And I just think that happened a little bit faster, I think, than they wanted to, and just kind of collapsed.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it stinks when any business goes out.
Sure.
But yeah,
absolutely.
They were. Trying to think where
we were at. You just left the restaurant. You were burned out.
Yeah, and then went into food sales.
Food sales.
Food sales didn't last that long. That's a cutthroat business. And
boring is boring.
You work off commission. And
so it's like buy this trash product to make your restaurant great.
Yeah,
it's not going to.
Yeah, and I'm not that type of person. So trying to go and sell somebody, and also know that most of these places you're trying to sell to are just trying to make $1. and I've got to take you for $1. I wasn't even able to make commission because I felt bad charging the people. I'm like, wait a minute, I know what it costs. I don't want to, charge this guy that. He's got to feed a family. I'm like, but I got to feed a family. So it's a tough.
You're the wrong guy for that particular job.
I mean,
I think that's a good thing too. That's not a bad thing.
I mean, you could be honest. I mean, I'm not saying all salesmen are ruthless, but there's a part of it where you got to make money. But as long as you're given a fair shake, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
But it's a tough sell, especially when you see restaurants struggling, and you want to help them out. But in helping them out, like we said before, you're not helping yourself out. I didn't put my own mask on before I was helping anybody else out. So that was a tough sell. And then
literally,
I think after that is probably I went back into working in restaurants, bartending. I grew up in Plains, so I worked at Old Time Charlie's for a while, bartending and stuff. And same thing, get yourself in trouble. It's 2:00 in the morning. Where else do you go? Should go home and go to bed, but yeah.
Too wired.
Yeah.
Too wired up for that.
Up. Yeah, because then you go to bed and you don't wake up until noon. 1 o'clock, and you're coming back to work.
You're wondering I wonder what they're doing.
Yeah.
I wonder what so and so are doing. I wonder if so and so's there. You know what I mean? Chasing the girls around, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So it's not wasn't all that great, to do that kind of stuff. So
wasn't all that bad either.
There's good and bad to it. There's definitely good stories. Some stories you tell to certain age people, and some people you don't. I don't tell tell the boys all of our stories from the past. But I was married, divorced, started another little diner up in Dallas called Dexter's Dish, named after our youngest son, Dexter. And
is that diner still there?
No. The building it is. It is pork
that didn't turn in
barbecue is there.
That didn't turn into that for a very short time last year. There was a diner that opened up in the Dallas area.
That was the Outer Limits.
Yeah.
No, it was up by Domino's.
I used to work with that lady at the casino. What happened? You know what happened with that place?
Outer Limits? They did a food truck. And they went back to their food truck, I think. That's what I heard.
So the brick and mortars just didn't work.
Right.
They didn't it wasn't even that long though.
It wasn't even a year. It was a couple months.
I wonder if they were like, let's just get out now. Possible.
Probably. I mean, they jumped ship. The guy in there now is Mystic Kitchen.
Mystic Kitchen.
Yeah. It's nice. It's a good place. Okay. He's a real nice guy, and his brother works up at they're twins. His brother works at
I like that.
Shadowbrook at he's the chef up there.
We're getting ready to go to Dallas for some ranch wagon. And then you told us so we're going on our hot dog tour. It'll be part 7. What did you say? What did you ask me earlier when you came in here? What made us think do hot dogs? I'm like, what did I say? It's food.
We're gonna eat it. You can do a tour about anything.
So ranch wagon, and then you told us another place.
Go up the road, Fat Mike's.
Fat Mike's. All right, that was detour number 3 so far. You left off at bartending, Old Time Charlie's, getting into that life. So where we go? How old are we at this point? 30?
Mid-20s, yeah, probably. Mid-20s, upper 20s. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where we go from there?
Got married, had 2 kids. Life is life, and sometimes you make good choices in where you're at, and sometimes you don't. So, sometimes
you don't have to go any further than that.
Sometimes you meet eye to eye with people, sometimes you don't. So, unfortunately, got divorced and moved on and remarried to a great woman, and it's probably a couple of years missed in between there. But,
sure, man. There's a couple of years I missed in between.
Yeah, probably. If you asked me, I probably wouldn't remember them either, or don't want to remember them. But left the restaurant business and actually started driving truck for local township in Plains. I worked for the DPW.
Can I back up real quick? What was it like owning a diner? Is the diner diner and restaurant? Obviously, it's the same concept,
right?
But I don't know. Something about a diner is just a little bit different. Than a restaurant.
Yeah.
That's why they're called different names. Obviously, it's the same exact thing in a way, but you go to the Glider, or remember Chick's Diner?
Yeah.
Rest in
peace.
Rest its bones up there. It's just
peanut butter bacon
It just
sandwich.
gets worse and worse and worse at that. But you drive by there, it looks worse. It looks so sad. So sad. But Chick's and Glider, and then you got Dee's Diner over by the
to go to the old Lispy's,
just in general, right? Just in general. What makes different running that compared to a regular restaurant?
I would say diners are your breakfast, lunch places. Your restaurants are your dinner places. I don't want to say a greasy spoon, but you're not getting you're getting quality, but the flair isn't there, and the relaxation. When people are coming in for breakfast and lunch, they're coming in for breakfast and lunch. That's not a sit down for an hour and a half, type of meal. Mm-hmm. It's come in, eat, maybe you hang for a coffee or something, depending on what day it is, but you're in and out. And I think it's a quicker paced, environment to bang out a diner.
People are looking for that. They want to be in and out.
It's the step up of a drive-through. I want to eat quick, but I don't want to drive through. I want to sit down, but I want it quick.
Right. Compared to like, say we're going to the casino, right?
Yeah. If you're going to sit down,
hey,
at
let's go for a quick breakfast. We'll go to D's Diner. Compared to we're going to go for Ruth's Chris or go for a burger at Johnny Rockets. There's still the experience. You're going to be there for an hour.
Yeah.
D's Diner, you might be there for a half an hour still. They got really good food over there.
Yeah.
They got good food. I love diner food. You know what I love diners. I'll always go to them. I hate about diners when you're sitting in the car part by the window. It's always cold.
Yep.
You need sweatshirts. Especially if you're in the corner seat.
Yeah, the heat don't reach.
We're just surrounded by window, like the glider diner, the window seat. When you walk into the glider and go all the way to the right, if you sit in that seat, you will be cold.
Yep. Well, and that's what they put those, what do they call it, like the vestibule or a foyer in between to do like a windbreak. You can't even open the doors half the time.
It's freezing. It's freezing. I just realized why big buildings, skyscrapers, have the round doors that spin. I was wondering why they have this round. I thought maybe it was cosmetic, but it's when you open a regular door, all the air from the top floor comes down out the door, and it skyrockets heating bills. The revolving door, when you go in there, at one point it totally seals up from the outside, and then when you come in, no air gets out. Yeah. Fascinating. I never knew that. There's a whole diagram. There's a whole diagram that showed up.
There's a thought process behind it. Who thought it was just fun? You know?
All right. So you're getting close to your 30s. Your food sales. You had your diner. Where'd you go from there? You got married. Got divorced.
Yep. And then as I said, we were working at the township.
Okay.
In Plains.
Okay.
That's right. Driving a refuse.
That's where I cut you off. Okay. How was that?
That was good. It's a job.
Yeah.
It was a big difference. I'll tell you that. 6:30 to 2:30.
That schedule? What is this?
8 hours.
What is this madness? Yeah. Weekends off?
Nights
Excuse
off,
me?
holidays off. Yeah, I never had a holiday off in my life when working in a restaurant.
I know.
That was part that my wife at the time didn't care for. And who would? It's not family life.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not
unless they're in that life with you.
Unless you're in it, But I mean, to come home and you're not there for Christmas, you're not there for Easter, you're not there for Mother's Day, you're not there to celebrate. Your kids. Maybe if the birthday lands on a good day, so you gotta take advantage of the days you have off. Mm-hmm. But they're not always conducive, to
Tuesday,
family life.
Like a Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. It's usually a Monday.
Yeah. I used to work restaurants, or I left the restaurant business, worked at the casino business. I worked at the casino for 8 years. It's the same schedule. 6:30 to 4:30 in the morning. Even worse. But luckily, I was my last year there. That's when I got myself in trouble, everything like that. But the hours are rough. It's a rough life.
Yeah, and unless you're like you said, if you're in it with somebody or somebody who's on board and they understand, what it is, and you can work around. You always got to take advantage of the time that you have in any lifestyle.
1,000%.
You have to. And, we go back to, our Christian faith. In the Bible, it says be with somebody who's equally yoked. You know what a yoke is on the bison or the ox or whatever you have. You got one side that's way and the other side down. Things aren't going to go good. Mm-hmm. That bull's not going to walk in the right direction.
Yeah.
You get equally yoked. You're going to follow the right path. You're both going to go on the same path. But once you throw that kilter off, you're really going to get messed up.
I like that.
So,
I found my yoke. I have a new girlfriend. She's named Bridget. She's great.
Nice.
And we're like 2 peas in a pod.
Yeah.
But like one pea's out of the pod, one's inside. So it's like
it pulls the other one in though.
We have I love that.
Yeah. No,
we have a lot of things in common, and then really strange things apart. It's great.
Yeah.
It's really great.
My wife and I are supportive. Like that too. Yeah. I was going to say that the nice part about it is when one's down, the other one's up. Mm-hmm. Because we're all going to be that way. You're going to have a good day and a bad day. But as long as your morals and your ethics are on the same page and you can come back to that.
Yeah.
That's the part that's genuine. You can have differences. Of course, we're gonna have differences.
Sure, absolutely.
Male, female. There's differences.
Oh yeah, there is. There is. The other day, I got my apartment painted by my two buddies, Darian and Kevin from the Go Getters podcast. Shout out to them. They painted my apartment, but it was getting late. It was Saturday night. It was like 10:30. I'm like, I was in a good mood. I was just done with the day, right? I'm like, I go, oh my, because we got a late start. I'm like, oh my God, it's 10:30. And I got into like a little bit of like a little bit of a crabby mood, right?
A discussion.
But I wasn't taking it out on her at all. I was really nice to me. I'm like, when I'm getting there, I apologize. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, I got a little grumpy because you're fine. You didn't take it out on me. That's all that matters. I'm like, it's a really good point.
Yeah. Because
you could be grumpy and then I could take it out. It wasn't her fault. It wasn't their fault. It was just me with my own stuff that was going on right then and there. You know, and I realized that. But having a partner like that is what I'm getting at, is having someone that's supportive of what you do all the time. And will be supportive of you in public. But then when you get in private, maybe they'll let you know how they really. Because I've been in a relationship where I've had somebody try to get a better impression from a stranger by embarrassing me or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Who does
Yeah,
that?
I've had a wonderful woman dump a beer over my head or two. You know, like it's a nice demonstration out in public.
And then we're crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, we'll get it. We're gonna get it right off of that.
That's check 4.
Yeah, it's check 4. So your job with the county, right?
Township.
The township.
Yeah.
That probably set you up for what you're doing now. Was that the bridge between?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, where I'm at now. Unfortunately, I got hurt at that job. Took a fall out of a truck and really messed up my back and my arm really bad. My wife and I in the time, so I mean that was a couple of years of therapy and all kinds of stuff going back and forth, and we were like, "What can I do?" You know, and I'm a bull in a china shop. I'd love to work, so
you're going nuts.
I'm like, "I want to do this," and she's like, "You can't do that." And I'm like, "Don't tell me I can't do that. I'm going to do this," you know. And she's like, "You're not doing that." And then I'm like, "Don't tell me I'm not doing it. You know, we're going to do this, and you know, I'm going to make this investment. Here's what we're going to do." She's like, "You're not, and we're not on this together." I'm like, "Okay." So then she'd be like, "All right, well, I got this idea," and I'm like, "I don't like that idea." So we're going back and forth, back and forth. One day I said, "You know what? I've got this idea," because she's like, "You got to figure something out." I said, "All right, what about this idea?" And we call her the bean counter for our business. And she's like, "All right." She's the logical one. I'm the one, you know, like, all right, when she says jump, I'm already in the puddle, you know, and it's just, but so she's like, "Explain it to me." So I explained it to her. Within about 15, 20 minutes, we were ordering our first racks, our trays, our seeds. We agreed on it. And that was back in April of 23.
That's awesome.
So here we are. And it wasn't too long after that. That was April 23 we started. It was kind of a little side thing to see how it would work. By the end of 23, she decided to leave her job of 17 years and jump into this full time. So 2024 was full for her. This is part of 2025, and here we are. It's quadrupled. We bought 1 rack. We were growing 4 crops. We've got 10 racks, 12 racks now because we grow vertically.
Where'd this idea come from? Where'd you come up with that? Were you laying around one day or sitting around one day and be like, let's make some microgreens?
One of the things microgreens is synonymous with is fodder. Fodder is a grass that's grown for livestock and for chickens.
Okay.
At the time we had chickens, and I was trying to think of, all right, how do I get food for the chickens that's not going to cost me a lot of money, but I can produce a lot of stuff for them? So I looked into it. So when we were talking about what I can do, I said to my wife, I said, well, listen, remember I talked about fodder for the chickens. There's also a thing called microgreens, you know, that we can get into. Grows the same concept, 7 to 10 days. We're harvesting every week, where a farmer's harvesting, you know, he plants and he's harvesting in months. Mm-hmm. Every 7 days we harvest. Every Thursday we harvest a crop. So all of that food is there. Within 24 hours, it's delivered to our customers. That's a heck of a turnaround to always consistently be doing.
Yeah.
So again, the bean counter was on board with it. I was on board with it. She liked it for me because I also wanted to get back into farming. But she's like, "You can't farm. You're not built for it anymore." You know, and of course, that's a pride killer. You know, especially
when a man has, yeah.
You know, I mean, but it's reality. You know, and you know, sometimes even when somebody has to walk you through the forest to show you the trees, sometimes it's not the greatest thing, but then it's a little eye opening too. So
humbling.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need it.
You do, you know, and then but you have to accept it too. You can't fight it.
You're right.
So I accepted it, and she accepted it, and we both hit on microgreens, and here we are. Like you said, we've over quadrupled. I said we started with 1 rack, 4 crops. We're up to 12 racks and over 20 crops.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Awesome. Yeah,
you see you when you went through all that and in the past with the restaurant business and the schedules, all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you get that light bulb that comes off.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, let's do this. You know?
Yeah, it's scary making changes. We call it a God wink. Yeah. My wife and I.
It's scary making changes.
Yeah.
You know?
That she always says, you know, we'll struggle in it sometimes because we'll have a good week.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, great. And then you'll have a bad week. And it's like, whoa, are we going to be okay? You know, is this right? Should we be doing this? And it's like, you got to have faith, and you got to, if you're not putting in the work, you're not going to get anything out of it.
Exactly.
You can't just sit there and go, well, I sell microgreens. Hope somebody wants them. Hope they call me. Mm-hmm. No, I'm banging on restaurant doors. I'm making phone calls. I'm out there meeting people. You know, sitting here talking with you, going to, you know, get information out there, talk to people. It's education. Yeah. We did farmers markets last year. I can't count how many people came up and, what is this?
Love that.
Yeah, it's microgreens.
I love that.
What is it? Well, all right. And I always bring samples. just like now, tasting it. Taste it. Wow, I never knew.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then you got people that the people that do know about it and love it. And there's people that eat it for health reasons that can't even eat big vegetables, because of the fibers that are involved in it. So it's a gut thing.
That's what I wanted to ask before I forget again. What's the fiber count in these? Is it lesser because it's not fully grown?
Exactly. The reason that
I meant to ask that.
The reason that plants stand straight up, a head of broccoli, a big head of broccoli. If you've ever seen it, it's probably 2 inches around the base. It's huge. That's why it stands up, because it's filled with fibers. These don't have that. Yes, it has fiber, but you're not right. There's
10 grams of fiber per serving.
One of our first customers, my wife and I set this up. We put it all online. We're going to do it online orders, so on and so forth. And we were sitting down to eat with our kids the one night, and our phone dinged, and it was a weird ding. And here it was our first order. And I was like, we got an order. What do we do? My wife's like, give it to me. I'll figure it out. Our first order was actually a woman whose husband was a gastroenterologist and talked about microgreens as a good gut health vegetable for people that were having gut issues.
Okay.
Because a lot of people can't eat the fibers. It messes with their gut. So there's tons of studies. He wasn't the only one, but he was one of them, locally that, and one of our friends actually went to him and he said, you should be eating more stuff like this, more baby vegetables, microgreens, things like that. It'll be better for you. So we have people that come and maybe they had a surgery or they couldn't eat it. And a woman at market that was like, I haven't had a salad in like 5 years. She's like, I'm so thrilled to see that you're local, and I can buy this stuff. So it's nice to hear those stories. I'm no doctor. I'm not going to tell you what to do about it, but you got to try things. You got to go out there and, research, figure it out for yourself. We post a lot of things on our website, little FAQs and stuff about it, but there's tons of people that we've had that have come to us and they still buy from us weekly because it's what they can eat and it's what benefits them. It's not for everybody. That's why there's vanilla and chocolate. There's carnivore diets out there. There's vegetarian diets out there. Everybody's got something because we're all built different.
Completely agree. This is a great way to get out. I can't wait to make a salad with all this stuff. I'm gonna mix some of it with my cheap iceberg lettuce that's in there. What kind of time and care goes into this business?
It's farming. It's not it's not sit back and relax. It's farming. It's still a job. We're in it every day. We're working. We try to pace it where we actually have a shift, but it still requires, it needs to be watered. We have artificial light. We grow indoors, so we grow year round.
Okay, that's good.
And every crop is different, but that's the same thing out in the field. In a regular farm field, every crop is different. Some require more water than others. Some of them require, you're not going to plant a basil plant this time of year, but you can start, farms can start their seedlings and getting things in. Maybe they start putting broccoli next month, because it's a hardier vegetable.
Okay.
Same thing. We grow vertically, but even in our controlled environment, there's going to be different levels in that controlled environment. So the things that are like the heat stay up top, even though we circulate, they stay up top. Things that are a little bit cooler, down on the bottom racks, and some of them get watered every day. Some of them don't like water. Arugula is not a water lover.
Leave me alone.
That's not a water lover. We have amaranth. Amaranth is like quinoa, so it's a grain.
Okay.
Not a water lover. Likes it dry. Now, there are some things that'll actually droop off, and you can bring them back. And then there's some things that'll droop off, and they're done. So you got to be careful on what you do. Some things like fertilizer, some things don't. Some some of the radish is our fastest growing crop, and grow radish in 5 days.
No shit.
To that part, part that we were at, just a couple inches, that's 5 days. We have a red vein sorrel that has a very sour taste, almost like a lemon or like a unripened strawberry.
Okay,
type of
unripened
taste.
strawberry.
So it has that. Believe it or not, it takes 5 weeks. 5 weeks to get a little leaf. It's a big difference. So you got something that grows in 5 days, and something that grows in 5 weeks. So then you have to have time management of, all right, well, when do I plant that if I know that I've got a restaurant that wants it? All
okay.
Right, well, I can't tell them, we got to wait 5 weeks. Well, I want it today. So we're always growing.
Okay.
And we know our customer base, so we're always trying to have something available. Sometimes we're sold out, but the nice part is next week we're harvesting again. So we do have people that have standing, we call it a standing par, in the restaurant that, it's your standing order.
Yeah.
And if you want to change it, that's fine. But we'll always have what you said you wanted. And then if you want to change, you can give us a call a day or two before delivery. If we've got it available, we'll change it. If not, if you want it for next week, we'll change it up. But we try to be consistent and have stuff growing all the time.
I like that.
So it's nice. We have a couple of retail spots that we sell at too. So they don't ask for anything specific. It's just fill the shelf. So it's nice. We don't really have waste. We put our stuff there. It's there. We have chickens. We eat it ourselves. You know, if we have a little bit of leftover, but we try to do pretty streamlined so that we're not throwing anything out. Don't like waste at all.
I like that. Me and Mike are going to come up probably sometime next week, and we'll get some photos and show us around.
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be really great to see that.
Yeah.
How long? Two more questions about the greens. First one is how long will you stay in my fridge for?
Again, difference on the size.
Okay.
We usually say 7 to 10 days because we deliver within 24 hours. So this way you've got the longest shelf life on it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people that have come back to farmer's market and said, I forgot about it in the back of my fridge. I pulled it out 3 weeks later, it was still good. All depends on the care you take.
Understood.
You know,
how cold it is.
Exactly.
Temperature, you put water on top.
Somebody said, it keeps spoiling. I don't know what's going on. I put it at the top of my fridge in the back. What's in the top of the fridge in the back?
Well,
the
water.
Fan.
Yeah,
the fan's blowing on it constantly.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
You're gonna freeze it. You know, it's
that
gonna
makes
get.
Sense.
It all depends. So I mean, it's a learning thing. You know, I mean, you can't put that's why what do they call it, the crisper in your drawer. There's no fan blowing in there. It's in a drawer.
Right.
You know, you can control that. But you go and put that lettuce up top next to the fan, it's probably gonna wilt quicker.
That
you
makes
know,
sense.
I mean, they're still baby vegetables. They're tender. Mm-hmm. So, but normally 2 weeks. You know,
2 weeks.
You'll get 2 weeks out of it, and that's the reason that they're packaged nice and small too. You'll go through this in 2 weeks if your intention is there to eat it.
That sounds good. That's good shelf life. People are gonna get their money's worth.
Yeah,
for that.
Exactly.
What's your most popular order?
It changes. It changes, and I would say number one is broccoli.
Yeah,
because it's normal. And for the people that don't know anything about microgreens, when they walk in and they look at everything, it's like, oh, broccoli. I know what broccoli is. And they look at sunflower and they're like, you could eat sunflower? I don't even know. You know, it's okay. Sunflower seeds I know, but I don't know about sunflower. And then it's, well, I don't like that, or I don't like this. You know, there's people that don't like radish.
Okay.
People that, like I said before, people that don't like arugula. So you're not going to buy that. But broccoli is very neutral. It's normal. It's something people know.
That sounds fair.
One of the most popular ones. The other one is we do a lot of mixes. So the mixes, I say, is like the Neapolitan of microgreens. You get a little bit of everything,
and it's all mixed in together.
It's actually separate, you know. So this way, it's in the same container, but instead of being tossed together, they're separate in a line. So you can go in there and be like, all right, I'll try a little of this one, try a little bit of that one. Next time, I don't want that one, or now I'll buy a whole clamshell of that one because I really like it.
That's really nice.
So the mixes are popular too.
I have more questions. I give him some more questions in my head. So if I wanted to maximize the nutritional value from these microgreens, say your arugula, for example, how much would I put in the salad?
I usually tell people a couple of tablespoons or a couple of pinches, you know, per se.
Okay.
As a weight thing, it's hard to say.
I was going more visually. Yeah. Like tell me how many pinches.
Yeah, exactly.
How many pinches?
Like 2 or 3 pinches per serving.
Okay.
That type of thing. There's tons of studies out there, and you know, breaking down. But the other part that we noticed, we actually my wife and I sat in, I think like a webinar, like a Zoom meeting with. I guess he would be a professor from Penn State that was talking about microgreens, and they had done different ways of growing the microgreens. So it was, what soil are you using? Are you putting fertilizer in there? How long is it under light? And each time it was changing the value of the microgreen. Huh. So for me to say exactly, you know, this many, there's no, you know, you're not going to see a nutritional fact on the back of these containers. It's just an idea, you know, of it, because it's so variable.
I understand.
You know.
That's a good answer. Thank you for that. Okay, so I'm sure people are wondering, or have definitely asked you, are microgreens organic?
All of everything that we do is organic. We use an organic soil. Mm-hmm. We use an organic fertilizer when it's needed. All the water that we use is just, you know, it's not treated with anything, so it's just natural water. All of the seeds are non-GMO, but not all of our seeds are organic.
Okay.
And that's because of finding all organic seeds. And if we do, the cost is so outrageous, it wouldn't be cost effective for us or for the person buying it to sell them it.
That's fair.
One of our things that we do stick to is non-GMO, so that nothing is out of the ordinary, you know, or some produced weird or whatever. So it's all natural that we do. But everything is grown and produced organically, from all the way from the beginning of the soil all the way to the way we wash our trays and we sanitize our trays. Everything is organic, from our soaps and our sanitizing and stuff like that.
That's great. I'm sure people were wondering that, so I'm glad you were able to explain that and let people know about that, because I saw that on your website as well. So I mean, I feel like I'm educated on microgreens. I feel like I have a day's worth of nutrition inside me. Absolutely. It was absolutely, it was great learning about this. You mentioned pierogies earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Totally flip-flopped on that. You mentioned pierogies earlier. Do you ever have knee pierogies and Nana Coke?
Yeah.
They're good, aren't they?
Pierogies,
yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
They have the sauerkraut pierogies.
You like the sauerkraut ones? I grew up with cabbage.
Cabbage and sauerkraut. That's what it is.
Well, when I grew up, we never had sauerkraut. It was cabbage, so it was like a halushki packed inside the pierogi. There was never sauerkraut the way that my mother made it.
Imagine a pierogi with the cabbage halushki inside and like little elbow macaronis in there. Like you make the halushki with the macaroni, then little macaronis inside the pierogi. I can see if Lori can. I can see if she can make those. She was on the podcast a while back in the beginning. Yeah, she's been a big supporter of the show. I love Mike's from Nana Coke. So the knee pierogi is really, really good.
Nana Coke, I'll tell you what, it's like one of those towns that you drive through now and you're like, wow, look at all the new places popping up. Look at all this new stuff. New
places popping up, old food scenes in there, good pizza, pierogies, all kinds of stuff going on up in Nana Coke. We're going to do a Nana Coke food tour sooner or later. Yeah. Sanitary Bakery. You ever have that pizza in there?
Yeah.
It's like Nardone's on
steroids.
What is my buddy Mike goes like? It sounds like I give him a piece of Sanitary Bakery. He's a big Nardone's fan. He's like, "Oh, what do you think of that Sanitary Bakery?" He goes, "What do you say?" He goes, "It sounds like somebody took over Nardone's and know what they're doing." That's what it says. I try to get stuff from the Nardone's family to come on here and talk about that business. I mean, that goes back to my earliest childhood. I mean, you see that in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
I used to make gourmet Nardone's pizza. I used to get four cuts. Put it on a tray, salt, pepper, garlic salt, every seasoning that was in the, I was like 8. Any seasoning that was in the cabinet. Put that in the oven for about 2 hours. Not 2, I'm being sarcastic. Comes out and it would just be reheated. The air fryer changed Nardone's for me. You can't put it in too long though.
No.
It blow up. And then the cheese, make sure you, if you put Nardone's Bros Pizza in the air fryer, make sure you put a liner on the bottom.
I was going to say, you got to have something on the bottom.
Tinfoil, because that cheese was like super glue on there. Absolute super glue.
I actually thought about that once before. I said to my wife, you know, it'd be a restaurant to open up, just a Nardone's restaurant. I said, where you take their pizza? Ways. Yeah. And what do you want on there?
Yeah.
You know, you want pepperoni on there? You want a bunch of seasoning? You want some chicken? You want to do buffalo chicken on there? You know, and you're just cooking Nardone's pizza, but you're just putting toppings on. That's it.
Interesting. That's really interesting. People would tend to put on the grill.
Yeah.
You hear people in the comments, put it on the grill,
yeah, we have a Blackstone. We have a flat top grill, and that's how we cook ours sometimes. You just put it on there, shut the grill, get the grill nice and hot, put it on there, close the lid, shut it off.
That makes more sense. The flat top makes more sense than the actual grill marks on there. That makes more sense. I got a couple questions for you.
Sure.
What is your favorite food?
That's a tough one.
Can we get one answer?
Only one answer. Wow.
Favorite food. If you could have it right now, favorite food.
Man, I always said pizza.
Great answer. I'm writing it down because you know why? That's the best answer.
I always say pizza because there's so many varieties.
Pizza's the best answer. It's the best answer. You're on death row for whatever reason. All right. Maybe your microgreens weren't so micro. All right. What's your last meal?
Whew.
Probably not pizza, right?
I was going to say, I don't know. I'd probably go with pizza.
What kind of pizza would you go with for your last meal?
Pizza, something with the works.
The works? Pizza with
something with everything.
Supreme style, baby? Supreme style?
Ton of meat, ton of vegetables.
My Supreme style is pepperoni, sausage. I like pepperoni, sausage.
Bacon?
You put bacon on there, but if I'm doing a Supreme style, in my head, a Supreme style is pepperoni, sausage, green peppers, onions, black olives.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm missing, and mushrooms. That's my Supreme style.
That kind of sounds like the Grotto. I think the Grotto does a works like that.
Lino's does a little works like that too. You know what happened the other day though? I got all the toppings fell off, so they put more toppings on there, but the toppings weren't cooked the first time. You know what I mean? They were cooked. You put a toppings on pizza, they're cooked in the oven. You put cold toppings on a slice to reheat.
Yeah, not the same.
It didn't work out last night. But the plain slices down there, absolutely one of my favorite spots. So pizza be your last meal too?
Yeah, I think so.
So Supreme pizza. I'm assuming you're gonna. It's not every week that I get the same answer for all three. Usually they're really different. You're gonna only eat one food, 24 hours a day for the rest of your life. What's it gonna be?
I'd say pizza.
Pizza seems like it's gonna get all the vitamin mineral. All right, clean sweep.
You know why not? Because it's variety. You ever have breakfast pizza? I can have
I
breakfast
just
pizza.
said, well, I grew up in Old Forge. So the thing was, Friday night was pizza night, and then you leave it on the stove for the next morning.
Yeah.
Now put it in the fridge. People think you're
never put it in the fridge. You know
Exactly.
how I judge a good pizza?
Exactly. How it tastes the next day.
How it tastes the next day. That's a good
Yes.
pizza. And if it's still got some sauce into it, but if the dough sucked up all the sauce and it's a dry piece of cardboard, that's not a good pizza.
I never thought about that. Old Forge is always moist and top.
Yep.
Are you a fan of Old Forge style pizza?
Yeah.
From Old Forge,
Yeah.
you go down there. What was your spot down there?
Ravello's.
I feel this is good. Carol and Janelle's.
Yeah.
My group.
Brutico's back in the day.
So you go. So Gingerelli's too.
Yeah.
That was my spot. Gingerelli's is my spot.
I used to love going to Brutico's because that was like, how they bring bread to the table.
Yeah.
They bring you just 4 little cuts, of their pizza cut up.
She was a pisser.
Yeah. Dee was a good girl.
She did not want us, the kids come in there after Friday night football. I'm surprised there wasn't a wall built around and no kids allowed. So now that's Cusimano's now.
Yeah.
Then my friend Russ Rinaldi owns Rinaldi's Cafe Rinaldi right next door. That's one of my spots. There was flirtations of Gingerelli's coming back, but I guess it's not in the works yet, though. But there's a new pizza place down in town called Bobo's
Okay.
Pizza.
Yeah.
By Turkey Hill.
Uh-huh.
Used to be in the old plaza there. Used to be Antonio's Pizza back in the day there. We're going back in the day.
Yeah.
So I did a whole Antonio's Pizza investigation.
Yeah,
in this
which
area.
Antonios?
Yeah, they all seem to stem off 1 or 2 original locations in this whole area.
Yeah.
So I had Luigi on the show that owns the one in Wilkes-Barre. He owns that plaza in there.
The
He
one
sold that
best the hospital.
by the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's Antonios everywhere. So pizza,
Yeah.
pizza. Love that. I love closing out on that. Please tell all of the listeners where they could find your website, get your products, and how that all works.
Yeah,
Please.
it's real easy. It's the name of our business. It's Back Mountain Microgreens. So it's backmountainmicrogreens.com. You go right on there. Our products page shows everything that we have. You can order direct online, and we deliver locally. Our local is pretty broad. I'd say a 50-mile radius because we always said we're delivering to restaurants, so there's no reason that we wouldn't deliver to anybody else. So if we're in the area, we're going to deliver. We drop it off to people, usually send out a reminder, hey, we're going to be in the area. Leave a cooler out if you're not going to be home to get your order. And you can pay right online. You can leave us cash in an envelope. We'll drop it off at your door. Our phone number is 570-652-8182. Text us, call us. We're always great to talk about what it is that you want or if you're interested. We do subscriptions where, you say what you want and it's delivered to your spot every week. You can change it up if you want to, but you pick something. There's no minimums on how many you get. There's no delivery fees. We try to make it's a good product and we try to make it accessible. We don't want it to cost any more for anybody where they're not going to be able to,
It's great.
be able to have it. Those are ways to get in touch with us. And if you're not committed to it, and you want to try it, we have a couple retail places, stores that carry it up in Dallas where we grow right down the road from us is Hillside Farms carries our product. If you're out in Tunkhannock, Hilltop Farms Marketplace right up Mile Hill up on top up there. And Everything Natural out in Clark Summit are 3 good retailers that have stuff. In between our deliveries, we stock their place every Friday. So they've got fresh stuff. Go in there, pick it up, see what you think, and give it a shot. Give us a call. We love having people, just like you said, come up for a visit. It's all about relationship, and we always tell people, we're not open to the public, but if you call us up and say, hey, we grow right on our property. So if you want to come up and see it, come up and see it. We may not have all the certificates and all the bells and whistles that everybody's got out there, but we got relationship and you want to come see it. I still shop I go to a farmer's market. I'm loyal to the guy that I worked for when I was over 30 some years ago. And that's the guy that I go to. Now, if he doesn't have what I want, I go somewhere else. But that's the guy that I'm going to go to, and that relationship built long, long time ago. And that's what we're trying to do too. And just in the short 2 years period that we've got between restaurants and private customers, the relationship's there and it's just growing. It's awesome.
That's great, man. That's great. I really appreciate you coming on Food Fight. Please tell all your friends that you're on when the episode is going to come out next week. Hopefully me and Mike can get up there before and we get some pictures, but then we promote the show the whole week. So
yeah, awesome.
The audio so those that are listening, the audio comes out on Apple, Spotify, all those places. The link tree is in all of our profiles on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Audio comes out Thursday morning, 6:30 a.m. So you can listen to it on the way to work. And then we release the full video on Sunday morning, so you can enjoy this. No more football. So there's Sunday morning food fight. Sunday morning food fight. All right. Anyone that would like to be a guest on Food Fight or be a sponsor for Food Fight, please get into my DMs. Give me a call. My number's on my profile as well. All right. Today we had Luke Marek from Dallas, Pennsylvania, owner of Black Mountain Microgreens. I appreciate you coming on the show, Luke.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks.
Appreciate you educating me and educating all of the listeners. And hopefully we pulling some more business from this.
Yeah,
you know
appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. My name is Brian DiMattei. This is the Food Fight Podcast, a Food Fight production. That's it. Awesome.